Sam, I got to tell you right off the bat, man, I love your vibe. You seem to have like an old school kind of thing with new school flavor. I love your look, man. It's like back in the day of back in the day of back in the day, but you bring it out to today. You have just this slick style. Leonard Cohen would be proud of what you've been able to do, man, because you kind of remind me of a young him. You're just so slick. Where the hell does that come from, man?
Appreciate that, man. I can't even, I'm not sure. I think with this new record that we're about to launch and with this new single, the aesthetics of everything they were super important to me. And I wanted to sort of make an effort to transport people into my world. And before we started working on piecing together how this whole world was going to look, I spent a lot of time thinking about what was really genuinely me, and like what clothes could I not live without, and what colors were my favorite color. And I just decided at the end of it all, I was like, you know what, man, like I would be devastated if someone took away my black jeans. And then I just decided, you know what, I'd be devastated if someone took away all my black shirts. And I'm like, that's it. Like I miss that. I miss that classic look of, I got really heavily inspired when I rewatched Walk the Line recently, and John had that look about him, man, where it was just simple. And right now, everything else in the world is so loud, and it's, crazy hairstyles and crazy, car raps, and it's like everyone is just doing so much all the time. And I'm like, man, I kind of just, I wouldn't mind if it was just one color every now and then. Like things were just a little bit simpler. So yeah, I took a lot of inspiration from Johnny and from simpler times.
And you know what? Simpler times is something that we need, man, because the time that we've had in the last year and a half has been insane. How have you been holding up throughout this COVID time with, the things that we've seen, the things that we've experienced, and what's continuing as we speak?
Yeah, man. It's I had this question asked me recently, and you know what? Like the God's honest answer is like, I haven't been holding up, like it's been tough. It's been tough on me as a musician and on the community as a whole. And there's been some days, man, where you just wake up and scream in a pillow, and it's as simple as that, and I'd be lying if I said I was sort of held up in my studio all strong and just like with the hatches bat down, like, it's just not the way it is. Like there's been some tough days, and the only way I've known how to get through it is to put as much focus into this next project as I can and really devote myself to the art and, just take a step back from all the noise. There's just so much noise right now. And I think we're starting to appreciate how bad it is for us up top. But, I think there's going to be a bill to pay for most of us at the end of this. It's getting larger and larger and longer by the day, with our mental health. And for me, just picking one thing, just revisiting why I got into music in the first place, revisiting the acoustic guitar, revisiting my inspirations, has really, really, really helped. So,
sorry for jumping in, but have you now realized how important you are as a musician? I mean, our frontline workers and everybody else out there doing their part, extremely, extremely important. But something that I've been adding in, and musicians and comedians, I think in this year and a half have been extremely important for us, because you guys are the folks that we come to get away from, at one point, like literally just being bombarded with whether it be right information or misinformation, but it was just seemed like at a certain point everything was just bad. And then we come to folks like yourself to get away from that and just relax and enjoy a moment. And that's what you do, my friend. Do you realize how important you are now for all of us?
Well, yeah, I mean, it reminds us all. Like, I'm going to my first concert tomorrow with about 20 of my friends. I'm going to go see the Arkells play live at the Budweiser stage.
Wait. And that's sold out. Two shows sold out, and you got tickets? Bravo, man.
Shows. I think they're playing. I think they added a Sunday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Wow.
And man, I just even talking to some of my friends before going to the show tomorrow, like it's for some of them, it's like we're gonna go to church. Like they're gonna get that moment of just like finally, like some weight off the back, some weight off the shoulders, and during this time, there's just been so much, not even misinformation, just information, period. And it's been so divisive for so many different reasons. And there's been, lots of great new movements started, and then lots of other movements that are just, you kind of shake your head at it and you're like, what's going on? And you can't seem to figure anything out and where you should stand on anything. And the thing about music is that it's a unifying power. Like it's not a divisive, with the exception of maybe like arguing with your friend over, who the best rapper out is at the time or something. It's like, for the most part, music is a unifying power. And that's something that we've really missed. And that's what a concert is for people. Like when you go to a concert, the people around you, you're not fighting with, because you all bought tickets to the same experience. And not having that music, not having that unifying entity in our lives, that's humongously costly to a society as a whole. So, I think it's going to be really good to start getting live shows happening again and to start bringing people together. Yeah.
And of course, new music is what we're going to be talking about in a moment. But I'd love to talk about where that passion and love of music came from. Where did it begin for you, man?
Man, it's funny enough. So I have two musical parents. My mom was a DJ. She's been on the radio for probably 3 decades now. She's been in music her whole life, and she was a singer and piano player. And then my dad he's an engineer, but he builds guitars as well, and he's been a guitar player for 40 years as well. And so I had really musical parents growing up. I actually completely rejected music until I was about 15. They put me into it softly. My mom put me into it, and I didn't love it. Like it just wasn't for me. I loved listening to music, but piano lessons didn't do it for me. And then, I sort of like left it behind. And then when I was about 15 or 16, I started revisiting some of the music that my parents played me, like, Neil Young and Pink Floyd and people like that. And then I found Jimi Hendrix and John Mayer. And the first time I ever heard Slow Dancing in a Burning Room by John Mayer, I was just hooked. Like it was just one shot. It was like just one, it's like a vaccine, just boom, and you're done. Like from then on out, I've just chased that all the time.
What kind of stories do you like to tell in your music?
It depends. It really depends. The most important thing now for me after this period of time is they have to be honest. Like I'm not the greatest co-writer in the room all the time, because I have a very tough time. Like it's kind of my world. Like I live in my world when it comes to my music, and it's not. It's my diary that I'm tapping into for the most part. It's my outlet, and I just really like, they have to be honest. So there's a lot of stuff obviously about relationships and about love and heartbreak, and substance abuse is a big thing, and it's just, it has to be honest. It has to feel like it's coming from somewhere. And then if I'm making a pop record, I have to disguise something in a pop record. I have to make it feel like it can be a pop record, but it has to still say something. And it's got to be honest.
Well, you definitely do that through your music, man. And when it comes to honesty, let's be honest, Slate Music is probably one of the important folks in this industry. You've got a connection with Slate Music. Can you talk a little bit about that, please? Because, man, what a breakthrough for your career.
Oh, no, I've been with them for half a decade now. And what Slate Music is they're like a family that never gives up on you, which is incredibly rare in the music business, because when it comes to procuring any sort of support in the music business, it's kind of put up or shut up. Like you got to deliver. And what Slate really does so well is they allow you to mold into the best version of yourself over time. And a lot of other alleyways in the music industry would not allow you to do that. And so Slate has just been incredibly consistent with their support for me, and relentless in terms of their advocacy for my career. And I mean, Gary Slade, Derek Ross, they're kings, man. Those two guys, they're absolute they're Canadian music industry icons, and Jim Campbell and Ali Slade, Gary's daughter, and Barnaby. I mean, I can't thank the whole crew enough. Parkside Mike as well. So, yeah.
This album that we're about to talk about, was
Sure.
this were the songs written and recorded before the pandemic or during the pandemic? And if so, either way, what were some of the difficulties in making this all happen, especially when studios are opening and closing? You could do this, you could do that. Just the way things were.
The brunt of the record was written in the pandemic, but I think two of the songs had been written before. The bones had been established before. And then I was actually on a writing trip down to Los Angeles about 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. And there were some songs that out of that writing trip that are going to end up making it into this new musical era, but they didn't get to be realized until the midst of the pandemic. So it's challenging. I'm just like such an intimate person when it comes to my music that working on Zoom and working over emails, it just doesn't work for me. And there's a lot of artists that say that, but for me, it's really, really tough. It feels very disconnected, and it's tough to just send notes back and forth rather than being in the room and moving through sounds on a synthesizer or moving through kick drum sounds, things like that. I love to be invested and involved. And so, yeah, having that degree of separation between me and a co-writer or me and a collaborator, it's difficult.
But you did it, man, because that's what we're here to talk about, which is new music.
Yeah.
What is the album called, and what is the album about, please?
So the album's name I can't say quite yet.
I was hoping we were gonna get a scoop on that one.
It was that the first single, which is coming out, it's coming out on August 25th, and that is an inside scoop specifically for you. No one knows that yet. It's called "Dream About a Girl." That is the first single off this record, and it's the song. The record as a whole is about. It's very aesthetically inspired. So the record as a whole is about comparing a lover and a woman to. I have to be careful how I phrase this. To a feeling, really, to a sort of cerebral euphoric feeling, and that's a theme that you get throughout the whole record. But then we sort of compare it to this one other thing as well that I can't give away quite yet. But yeah, it's this record too is a lot more fun than the last one I put out. Like, we really wanted to. My music has a lot of darkness in it, and it's my alleyway to get out, the sort of bluesier sides of me, and it's where I put some of my angst. But with this record, we wanted a finer balance of those bluesy records and that R&B sort of minor chord with some up tempo stuff.
I want to get into that because really, and I know you're trying to be careful on how you said it. I'm sorry though, but back in the day, 60s, 70s, 80s, R&B, 90s. To me, that's what I'm hearing from this single. It is basically a guy giving his emotion, whether he is screaming it out or he's whispering it. That's what I'm picking up from this.
That's all it's ever trying to do. That's all as an artist we're ever trying to do is evoke emotion from other people. But the irony is that the best way to do that is to be honest with your own emotions musically and be honest with your own stories musically. And when I've tried to write a song about something, when I've tried to write a song with the intention of it evoking X emotion from X listener, it never works. If when I try to write a song from a perspective of, X emotion from myself, ironically, that's what ends up translating the best to someone else. So, it's all a little all music is just a little microcosm of one little feeling that we have as the artist when we're creating it. And it's expand on that and hopefully it lands in a relatable state for other people.
Not just a relatable state, but in a lot of ways too. And this is the thing I miss about music, when artists like yourself with this speaks for guys or for people in general who don't know how to express the words, and in a lot of ways you help do that for them.
Sure, yeah. And it's you can't, again, like, you can't shoot for that. You can't try to put words in other people's mouths that you would hope they would say. It's more just encapsulating a feeling that, you know, you hope might be one that's shared by a lot of people. And that's really all it is. I mean, we're all so much more similar than we realize, you know. The tribulations we all go through in our lives, whether they be, you know, it doesn't matter. We all go through them, and we're all human beings. We all feel very similar things at times. And as long as you're honest in your and how you convey those things, and if you can articulate them well with some good wordplay, you know, I think and obviously amazing melodies is the goal. You know, people will gravitate to it. So yeah.
They will. You know, you talked about going to the Arkells, you know, as we speak, coming up this weekend. What are the chances, though, of us getting a chance to see you on stage? Are there any negotiations going on for any live shows in venues, or, you know, can we see you in drive-ins? Can we see you virtual even too?
Absolutely. No, we're going to be announcing some stuff fairly soon, but it's very much in the works. And the live show, to be honest with you, when I started playing music until the last record, my debut EP, Vice Love, the live show was the thing I was sort of the most concerned about, the most afraid about. And then after that last record, it made me realize that it's like unequivocally the best part of playing music. And I'm so excited to be able to dive into that with more experience for this sophomore offering. I just think it's going to be, you know, the caliber of players that I play with, and the caliber of show we're able to put on is just going to be significantly better. Yeah, live shows are a massive focus for me moving into the fall, for sure.
Looking forward to it, man. Look, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for the interview. Thanks for the new single. Looking forward to the album coming out when we get that name. And looking forward to some live shows with you on stage, man. Because like I said, you got the vibe that I think can cut through the bad times during COVID. So I'm just looking forward to everything you're doing. Cross fingers, man. At some point in time, we may be able to do this one-on-one in person. I would love to be able to do that. Thank you again so much.
Before the record comes out, we can chat again, and I'll the first show we do that I think is worthy of you. I'll shoot you some tickets. Absolutely, 100%.
Thank you so much, man.